What is going on?
Governments lie all the time. Well, not just the American government. It's just in the nature of governments. Well, they have to lie. And since they don't represent the people, and so since they act against the interests of the people, the only way they can hold power is if they lie to the people.
That's for sure. What's going on, traders? I was going to talk about the formula that this kid jacked from me, and he's trying to act like he didn't. Like, that's sick, buddy, that you can make fucking robots, but what? You're gonna try to steal the credit for it? What? Alright, bud. Steal from me in the real world, and I end your fucking life. Period. People just don't realize who they're fucking dealing with on a daily basis when they're in the safety of their own homes with zero physical threat. But I digress. What I'm going to talk about today is the law of vibration and probably a couple other things. And if you've ever stolen something from somebody and you sat there and denied it and denied it and denied it, and you're acting like they're the ones that's in the wrong, you need a fucking reality check. That's what you need, bud. You need that shit in your world. Step outside of your fucking comfort zone real quick. Don't ever posture up to me. So what I'm doing is I'm taking Gann's rules of the range here. And on Bitcoin, obviously you're not going to work with a range of 10, 100, or 1,000 right now. 1,000 mark might be coming up, but or even so you'd go up to the 10K mark. So I've got March to March. The January 1st bullshit that your Gregorian calendar that's been peddled to you from the fucking Christians, that's a bunch of garbage. It's nonsense. Okay? A real year has 4 cycles in it. And it starts from March 21st and it goes to March 21st of the next year. Those cycles would be June 21st, people just need to, they really need to understand the energy that they're putting out. Because when you're dealing with an enlightened mind that understands polarity and understands humans in general and how simple we are, you realize quite quickly how to deal with them. And it's very simple. What you put out, you get back. If you interact like a cunt with me, and you steal from me or you're shady, things are going to get violent real quick. It's going to go to war immediately. And I assure you, when it comes to war, I'm fluent in that language. Come to me with love, respect, we'll be best friends. We'll have the time of our lives. Keep that in mind when you fucking deal with me, please. No time for your fucking childish games. Anyways, we're in here on and I've set up the year, the actual year of March to March, and I've got separated with the only cycles that matter within those years. So you could really, within the year, so you could call this a year with 4 months in it, right? Theoretically. Now, what you can do is you can square the range of the year, so the high to the low of the range. I could square this at 50%. Right, so I would take my high, boom, run it out until my 50% is in line with that. I did that in my other video. Actually, I don't think I did the 50%. I did my own variation, but I'll just show you real quick what that would look like. It would be, getting the right tool, finding the high there, boom, okay, and then running it out to 50%. Lining up that 50% there, and then scaling it at the 1. That's pretty standard stuff for scaling a year's worth of data to a 1-to-1 scale as far as I'm concerned, and I did do that in my other video, so go ahead and check that out. What you can do here is fractal things. Now, let's get this out of the way real quick. You can fractal, these time cycles. Really, the time cycles are the only thing that matter. The harmonic time cycles within the year. All right, so the 125, 25, these ratios here. What you can do is fractal those, though, and with the same ratios, and just draw them in the middle like that. See, I went from point to point. I won't go through all of that there. I'll just come to where my most recent point in time here would have been this 75 point, and I'm going to run that to the 875. And that looks like shit, so let me come in here. Yeah, well, that's as good as it's going to get. I guess it's fine. Okay. And that does give you some nice time cycles in here. A little bottom, a little top, and we're in another time cycle now. And this is on the daily, right? So if I break it down to, drop it down to the hourly, we're getting some nice levels coming in here. Some nice midpoint cycles. So, personally, this isn't my favorite way to square. If I'm going to, typically I'll use these ratios here on the hourly. But that was just an example here on the daily. You can go ahead and fractal these ratios to smaller ratios. Right? So you've got that on there, which I, for whatever reason, took off. I'll leave that on there. And then you've also got this here that you can range out to. Right? So you've got from this level to this level, and it's all the same ratios that I'm using here. And we're kind of in the middle of things, so come down here. And you can really see, just want to get rid of this, trying to angle. Okay, you can really see the squaring effect, right? And it really cubes everything up, creating some nice little squares for you to trade from. Alright, you're boxing things up and you're creating those little zones. Alright, and price will indeed respect these zones. To the top of a zone, straight down, straight down. We're down below this zone now, and we're hugging here on the hourly. We're kind of hugging. We could easily be working our way straight down here into the 3,000 range. But conversely, we do have the Trinity points shaping up on the daily. Here it is on the hourly, right? You've got your head and shoulders pattern for the layman, or the Trinity points. You've got your 3 points here. This could easily maybe just drop it down a little lower. Like I said, that 3 range, maybe to like a double bottom here, or this 25 ratio here, wouldn't be too shabby to see before we pop up for a rally again. But as of right now, with this setup, we've got still short, right? We're under the level. We've got this trend line, this kind of angular momentum energy giving us direction. So if anything, we're short, but by all means, you can indeed, now that I am on the hourly here, I can go ahead and just fractalize this even more, right? From time frame to time frame. And you're getting your little fractal points there, right? That's a really nice fractal right there. So, get out there and see if you can find these points. They're really pretty, there is a 0 point in all points of space, of infinite potential. So you're not going to find the exact point at all times, but if you're able to combine a lot of different math, you're going to really get some confluence, and those times will show themselves to you through Philly math. And I really do like these the Gann angles and time scales with my wave counts, as well with the Philly math. The Philly math really just complements any system just beautifully. Make sure I'm on the right. Okay. That wasn't. So what the Philly math is, and you can see I've still got this kind of set up on my chart. This is what I made some money on today on this rally up, and since reverse positions. But it's a bit of a conversation, and there's definitely some math to go over, so I won't really touch on that much. But there's what you could consider this to be an even polarity, or an even cycle, if you'd like. Yeah, we're seeing even numbers here. We moved down 144 bars. This was an even cycle. Now, when I saw that 144 bar come in on what I already knew was an even cycle, creating that wick right on the 144th bar, I got long, and since you know, it was going a bit sideways there, I was thinking about taking profit as we were up here, and I started sweating a bit as it was coming down. I said, fuck it. I went to bed, woke up in the morning in profit, did a little bit more Philly math, saw, hey, there's a 48 sitting here. You know, I noticed we did kind of close on an odd number, so we could be switching into a bit of an odd cycle, and see this rally higher, in which case I do have some tight money management basically right at this point here, and I've just lined up this right here, 48 bars. I'm lining that up with the center of this, so that's 50% of this move down, and then I'm using 50% of that for a stop. Basically, I don't want to see it go any higher than that. Basically reversal orders for stops at this point, and targets would be up here if that were the case. But I do, yeah, it's quite possible to see this downtrend continue. My higher time frame analysis, my waves and harmonics and things do have us down for the USD CAD for quite some time. You know, there's weekly type formations, candlestick patterns taking place, so definitely something to watch for as a continued move down here. And that's really what I thought I was setting myself up with by getting involved on the short here on the 48th bar as we came back up into this level. All right, so some nice pips up here, and hoping that next week perhaps we just gap on down. You know, watching Bitcoin all weekend is pretty telling as to what the US dollar and other currencies are going to be doing for the following week. But won't get into that too much, but that is kind of what I like to, you know, this is basically just Philly math that you're looking at here. And I do like to add that with the, you know, with the GAN measurements and wave counting and things of that nature, right? So there's a lot of tools for you to use, and I don't mean, you know, drawing tools, and I just mean, you know, mathematical formulations, formulas rather, that you can use to hone in on price. Like I said, the 144 bars is the technique. I was also just reading the price. It's you know, the amount that it moved there was a 48, which had me involved in the sell here today on the USD CAD. So there's lots of different ways to find that harmony, right? And that's really all that I've really focused on, is finding that when time and price are in harmony with each other. That's the point that I like to act. And see, I'm just fractaling this in now. See what we can get here. Some nice levels here, and see how quick that I've went from, you know, a daily scale to the hourly. And it's almost, you know, at this point I want to go lower, right? But I don't go any lower than the hourly. I could certainly, and I have done quite well on the lower time frames, trading waves and things of that nature. But these bigger pit moves are really what I'm trying to target, and they're the ones that really bring home that paycheck. All right, instead of sweating out for 10 pips here and there like I was on the USD CAD trade, and trying to really manage those bigger pit moves. And in my opinion, you know, Bitcoin is setting itself up for a bull rally, but I don't think it's just yet. As I said on the DJI, I've got the you know, a lot higher targets here. You can see a 5-wave corrective path. This is the monthly major fractal, right? So you got a bit of a 5-wave corrective pattern in here. If you go to the weekly, you'll definitely see that 4th wave in here. And then we're looking for that 1-to-1 rally higher, right? the first point of measurement that seems likely to me is here. So this would be kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then our corrective point, and then our continuation up here. And I do believe that we're coming into at least the 27,331 for what would be a valid 1-to-1 move to the upside here. All right, so in that case, Bitcoin would likely shoot a little lower, you know, and you could see a bit more of a trap thing going on here, a bit more sideways stuff. You know, you might just do something like that, something really sketchy in here. Personally, I wouldn't want to act until we hit that 1-to-1 ratio on any sort of a sell. I mean, selling the DGA, you know, it's just ludicrous anyways, right? But it's about that time that the markets are rolling over, and I do believe that point's coming very soon. It's just not quite yet. And if you look at this chart, this move right here, these are the type of moves that catch people. You know, these type of moves here really getting the bears on board, and then we go higher, we rally higher. By this point up here, people are stopped out of their short positions, or they've been scared out of. That's what you see is price going sideways here a lot. Or these bears are running for their lives with whatever you know, break even type of entry they may have, or small loser. You see that sideways action, and then from there we rally higher. This entices more bears, bulls to get involved before a spike down, stopping them out, creating that liquidity so we can actually rally higher. That's just trap trading, and that's precisely what's happening right now here on this market, as well as all other markets, major markets I should say, Bitcoin included. You've got this identical pattern with a big, you know, it's just in reverse. In this case, it's a big drop, and we're starting to see some pressure to the upside. We still haven't broken highs, right? So I wouldn't actually be too surprised to see it break these highs, maybe even for, you know, a while before, you know, something as terrible as this could happen with Bitcoin. It could really rally up, show some strength, then flop. You know, it could be late into this year where we do see a strong rally from it. But if indeed it is going to rally, this is going to be the Trinity point right here. And it should continue much, much higher. Looking at the other markets, you know, to use that as correlation, I don't think that's happening. I think we're going to see some sideways action here, if at all, probably just a drop straight down to create lower lows, but time will tell. All right, so pretty helpful vid, I think. Let's minus the drama at the start, but motherfuckers need to know. Get in there, create these confluence points, create these fractals with Gans measurements, right? And you know, I was gonna go through squaring. I guess I probably got time to do that real quick. Gonna square this. An actual year, as I was saying, is March to March. So we've got the March, we've got June 21st, which is the next session, cycle, whatever. And we've got September 21st. We've got December 21st. And then a new year on March 21st. So there's our cycles. And what you can do from there is fractalize your Gantt squares and things. You know, what you could have done with that other setup is, you know, from March to March, I could take what happened from maybe the previous March to March, right? So I could take my from down here, the low down here, up to the high, and square that out. I've done that many times. But you could square it at the 0.25. Technically, when you think about it, the math adds up, because there's 4 of these cycles in what would be one complete year, right? So from March to March, we've got 4. You could break these into 4 quadrants as well, right? So most recently, September down to our current kind of Capricorn cycle here. I'm going to go ahead and I can just square this data. And I can square this data at a number of ways, actually. I can take the amount of bars that it was here, 61 bars, and I can start crunching some formulas to get a ratio that I'd like to square at. And that's really very effective from what I've found, but it can be tricky to find that ratio and hone in on it. Here's a really nice simple way though. I'm just taking the one of the quarters here, right, and I'm lining up at a quarter. 0.25. I'm going to lock that on. And from here you can create your Gantt square. And you don't have to create it to a 1-to-1, up to the 1, way the hell over here. You don't need to do that. You can do it at the 50, right? And that's what I'll do quickly here. I haven't added this yet. I'm not sure what this is going to look like. And if you're not happy with the results, you know, there's not just one tried and true method. If you're not happy with the results, go in and change the formula, change the method that you're doing it. You know, maybe square up a couple months, square up the whole year. Try to find. You got to find that sweet spot. That's trading. Is finding that harmony and getting yourself involved. But what I'm doing here is I've lined up my fan first, and then now I've lined up my my box here to the 25, and I can lock my scale. $306. To me, that would continue the odd or the even cycle, which is a good news for my USD CAD trade, as far as I'm concerned. We'll run it out here, 306. Looking good. Oh yeah, looking very good. $306. And we got some pretty sexy time points coming in there. Kicking this off, kicking this off, kicking this off, this off, kicking this off, and hopefully kicking off a nice run up, but it's a little sketchy how that went down right there. Well, actually, this point right here, this yellow line, is just the winter solstice, so not a big deal. The Gantt point is, this was our low, right? So it's going to be on point, and we're looking, you know, for that continued push lower here. In this case, it would, you know, the next cycle, next level down is 0 on this scale. So if Bitcoin's going to recover, this is definitely the time that it needs to act. You know, as I showed on the Dow and things, I think we do have a bit of wiggle room. So, you know, you could see even, you know, who cares if it does come all the way down and ping into ones or something like that, as long as we can eventually, at some point, catch this energy up, right? That's all that we need to do, is we need to work our way in here to catch this up. And it's definitely going to send us to the upside. If Bitcoin does go much lower, this is just pure manipulation, and there's zero mathematics and zero logic involved whatsoever, and it was indeed the definition of a pump and dump through pure manipulation, but I don't think that's the case. I think you're going to see some harmony come in, and if what I believe is correct, where consciousness dictates reality, which is the primary function of quantum physics, what you're going to find is that Bitcoin thrives, the US dollar and fiat money dies. And by looking at the DJI harmonic point there, I would say that that's been well underway for quite some time now. So there we go. There we got it. Where do you go from here? Is you just wait for your points, right? This is to me, this was the safest setup on this. You know, like I said, you could take a whole year and clock that out, but I really do like taking just that quarter and scaling it as such. And we do have a nice respect of these levels. When you start seeing some price action like that right there on your levels, that's a pretty good indication that you've found your sweet spot. All right, so there was some other shit I was going to talk about, but 25 minutes in, we'll wrap it up. Drop me a comment, let me know what's on your mind. If there's anything that you want to learn, if there's anything that's not clear, let me know, and I'm here to help. All right, peace.